Hi, hope everybody's doing well during this craziness. I'm here to talk about Chapter 8, the ethics of photo and video journalism. So this chapter deals a lot with the legal and ethical issues involved in photojournalism, especially in regards to privacy. So photojournalism got its rise during the Civil War, and journalists would go out and take pictures of the battles actually happening. It was known at the time as writing with light. Um, Privacy issues began to arise in 1901 when a preteen Abigail Robertson found her image on posters, barns, and flower packages without any permission to use her images. She actually filed a lawsuit against these companies, and she didn't win because obviously there were no privacy laws at the time. So soon after, New York passed the first ever privacy laws. People have different interpretations of what images are. Some people see them as artistic, while others see them as obscure. We all know that images have power. We now have cell phones that can capture images. I have a computer that's recording me recording this. And it's changing the way we send messages, receive messages, understand messages. People used to say seeing was believing, but now with photo editing, that is changing because people are not actually seeing real images anymore. Garry Bryant has 4 questions to ask when you're deciding to take a picture of a subject in regards to photojournalism. The first one is, should this moment be public? Will this cause further trauma of the subject? And am I acting with compassion and sensitivity? Am I using the least obtrusive distance as possible? For the last one, basically what that means is just, are you being as sensitive as you possibly can to the subject and not trying to be all up close and personal? The number one identified ethical issue by the National Press Photographers Association was setup shoots. Setup shoots are basically just when it's a staged photo. The next issue was eye-washing, which is when reporters use stock photos in stories and the photograph is completely taken out of context and used. As we know, the photojournalism is constantly changing with cell phones and new ways to disseminate information, and this is also changing new rules and new laws in regards to photojournalism. So the case study I decided to present the ethics of photojournalism on are problem photos and public outcry 8C. So at the University of Florida, campus police were called to investigate a large amount of blood found on the bathroom floor. When the police arrived at the scene, they thought it was probably because of a miscarriage. So they tried to look for more information. They ended up going outside to the dumpsters, and when sifting through trash, they found bloody towels, bloody gloves, etc. And then they pulled out a plastic bag of a dead baby's body. And as the police reporter was pulling it out, or not reporter, police officer was pulling it out, he placed the body on the ground next to the dumpster, and a reporter from the school's newspaper took a picture of the dead baby that was laying on the pavement. And then after this whole thing, the next day, the 18-year-old mother was found and taken to the hospital, where they ruled what happened to the baby was a miscarriage and it wasn't an abortion. So the story decided to be ran. They actually used the photo of the dead baby by the dumpster. And They didn't headline the picture on the front page, but they did use the headline of the story on the front page, and then on page 3 you could see the photo of the baby by the dumpster. A lot of people were offended by this image, while other people thought that this really highlighted the magnitude of the situation, and the paper itself highlighted the Center for Sex and Pregnancy on campus, which would hopefully help students who were going through this issue get and find the help that they need. So there were a lot of mixed opinions about the picture being used. So 2 ethical questions I drew from this case study were, was it ethical for photojournalists to take a picture of the dead infant, and was it ethical for the newspaper to use that photo of their story? So, what would the philosophers say? So for the first question, was it ethical for the photojournalist to take a picture of the dead infant? Aristotle believed in the golden rule. He believed characters, not just rules. Actors are the most important. So I would say Aristotle would say that no, this is not ethical because the reporter was not respecting the rights of the dead infant or the mother of the infant. For Kant, categorical imperative, that's what he believed in. He believed it's the act itself rather than the person acting. The action is the most important. I would say that he would say this is not ethical because the reporter could have taken another photo that could highlight the magnitude of the situation. For Mill, he believed in the greatest amount of good for the greatest number of people. He believed that intention is not as important and the outcome is the most important. Mill would say that yes, this is ethical because people saw the magnitude of the situation and now are informed. I think that for this question, I most agree with probably Aristotle or Kant. I don't know how to say his name still. I think that they could have used, he could have captured another image of just the dumpster or blood by the dumpster, and it could have still highlighted the magnitude of the situation. I think by taking a picture of the dead infant, it was highly insensitive to the child itself and potentially to the mother, even though I don't think she should have put her baby in a dumpster. I still think that we have to respect the rights of humans. Question 2, was it ethical for the newspaper to use that photo for their story? I would say Aristotle would say no, this is not ethical because the newspaper was using the photo to magnify the situation when another photo could have easily been used. Basically, I think Kant would say it's not ethical for the same reason Aristotle would say. I mean, even though it's different, it's still the action of using the photo. For Mill, I would say that he could claim that it was ethical because it captured the magnitude of the situation. Now people are informed. For this one, I would say that this is not ethical because I think that it really, any other photo could have been used, and that the action, I think that it just doesn't, any other photo could have been used to highlight the magnitude of the situation. So my test question is, what was 2 of Garry Bryant's 4 questions to ask when deciding to take a picture in regards to a subject's privacy and to make sure the photo you are taking is respectful of the people in the photo? So you could list any of these 2, or any of these 4 you could list, but you only have to choose 2. Should this moment be made public? Will this cause further trauma of the subject? Am I acting with compassion and sensitivity? Am I using the least obtrusive distance as possible? Thank you so much for watching this. I hope everybody's doing okay with all this craziness, and have a good one.